Good morning, Midnight's Edge fans. We're here to tell you that we have so much more to offer you now at our Mixed Tees store. Not just t-shirts and hoodies, but we do have plenty of those, and new designs for that matter. You can also get mugs, and of course our brand new limited Amber Turds stained blanket. That's right, just for your bed or wherever you need it. So head on over to Mixed Tees now and get all your apparel and goodies from Midnight's Edge.
Get up, wake up, this is your final warning. It's time for Midnight Edge in the morning. The gang is ready to go and it's time for the show. It's time for Midnight Edge in the morning.
Greetings and welcome everybody to Midnight's Edge in the morning. Or should I call it the bald and the beautiful? Because today, you got the two bald gentlemen. We're bald, we're white, we're probably right. Welcome to the program, everybody. Andre is busy and away today. So is Scribe. So we'll see who else joins us this morning. But in the meantime, how you doing, Chris?
Man, I am doing fantastic on this hump day, brother.
It is a hump day indeed.
We are going to hump right through it.
That's what they say. Yeah, no boss man, no Chato today, so we'll see how it goes. But
No scribe either.
yeah, no Scribe either. And yeah, Rip
Let's just go rogue.
Rick Davies, co-founder of Supertramp. Yeah. It's too bad. We also have a little bit of news to talk about. We got some super chats to kick things off. Dr. Long Dongler sending in a £1.99 with a thumbs up to remind you to pound that thumbs up if you haven't done it already.
We love
Thanks again,
Long
Dr. Long Dongler.
Gosh, we love
Yeah.
him.
And then we got Mark Fields who says positive vibes to you all. Have a beautiful day. Well, thank you, Mark Fields.
Yes.
Appreciate that. You and your little buddy there, and says hail panel. Well, it's just the two of us so far, but hopefully the panel will grow.
Just two boobs. Just two bald boobs.
Just two boobs. Yeah. Yeah. But anyhow, so how you been, Chris?
Man, I'm great. You know, it's been a long 46 hours without you guys. So I was ready to get back in here and get
Did you miss
some.
me?
You got such a Midnight's Edge in the morning has such a great audience, you know, so smart, and they're kind of sometimes ahead of the curve.
A little bit. Well, and just to remind people, being ahead of the curve, I
Yeah.
don't know if you're setting me up for this or not. We're going to be moving the show to a bit earlier in the near future.
Look at that.
We're on the run from the mob, the FBI on their tail, no car, no money, and only 24 hours to get to their new time slot. That's right. Midnight's Edge in the morning.
Oh, man.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Yes.
Great job, Scribe.
Yes, indeed. We had a few that you guys did here that were great. We're going to
Yeah. Now that's starting September 15th. What is the day? When is that first day? Do we actually have
I believe
that?
it was like 2 weeks from last Monday, I think
Yeah,
was
so
the
the
plan.
15th.
Oh, we got 6 in the chat. How you doing, 6?
Oh,
So, yeah.
yes. Wow. We're okay now. I feel better.
Indeed. Serving
Old new
spin-free news and analysis with your very first cup.
Yeah. The classic vintage Midnight's Edge in the morning.
Indeed.
Thumb's a little long. Looks maybe that's a American Werewolf in London.
Looks fine. It doesn't-
Pre-transformation.
It's not touching the cup. I think
I
that's the
noticed
problem.
that. Yeah, that's weird. It's like a post-transformative werewolf, like the morning after a good howl.
Oh,
Java, yeah.
werewolves of London.
Mhm. Mhm.
What about a Norwegian werewolf?
Oh, yes. That's really, I mean, we're making excuses for Andre, but that's the truth of the matter.
I am going to eat your face.
Werewolf.
I am a werewolf, and I'm going to hop on top of your face and eat it. Yeah. Anyhow, so we got Smiles Frown, who's been a member for a month. Thank you for that, Smiles Frown. We
Oh,
appreciate that. Share out the link. Let everybody know that we are live. And hopefully we'll get some more people joining us soon. But let's talk about the top story, the main story,
Yes.
the really only story.
Mm.
Glenn Powell, and this is interesting because it's right after there was this article, I think it was Variety or was it Deadline that put it out, where they're basically blaming male-driven films for the piss-poor box office this summer.
Yeah.
It's like, no, maybe it couldn't have been that you've pretty much told men that they suck.
Yeah.
For the last 10 years, and they don't trust anything you put out anymore. But hey, then they're also ignoring the obvious positives on that. But no, I think it was THR who put it out. Here it is. Yeah, summer box office clobbered. And then they get into how it's men are the problem, supposedly, just so they can double down on this bullshit again. Not Glenn Powell. He says Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy changed Hollywood leading men. You can be sillier, not just brooding like Robert Pattinson and Christian Bale. I mean, that's a good point. But I would say that these two guys right here are, outside of Timothée Chalamet, are probably the two newest movie stars we kind of have. Would you agree?
I definitely would. Definitely. But Powell, there's some aspect that's missing, and I don't know what it is. I just can't put my finger on it. He's masculine. He's an attractive male. He's a good actor. I like him in just about everything. The last thing I saw him in was Twisters, I guess. But he almost seems like a copy of some other actor. Do you know what I mean? Almost like he's sort of a carbon copy of maybe a slightly less serious Brad Pitt. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I like this. This is actually, I thought this is a good comparison. Glenn Powell is a modern Harrison Ford. I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the women like him, think he's sexy. I mean, would I say that? I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know if I agree, because I think he's got what Paul calls the royal jelly, or whatever, the it factor.
Sure. Yeah.
Not as much as Chris by far.
Yeah.
But I mean, Chris, I feel like is being underutilized big time in Hollywood.
I do too. And I kind of feel like that's related to his conservative stance.
Could be.
I feel like there might be some people that just go, nah, I don't want to hire that guy. And they may just say that to themselves, right? Because he does get good gigs and he does get work, but I feel like his outspoken Christianity and his conservative values might be holding him back. I could be wrong, but I agree with you. He's not getting enough work. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's being treated like other stars of his caliber were years ago.
Mm-mm. And to me, he ought to be a bigger deal. And I could have seen, honestly, I could probably see either one of these guys taking on the Indiana Jones mantle.
I was just thinking that, it's funny is like, as much as I love Harrison Ford, and I don't know if anybody else ever could play Indiana Jones but him, I feel like we had a missed opportunity where Indiana Jones could have been our James Bond.
Yep.
Right. Like you could have kept the character going. Every few years we get another movie.
Yep.
Eventually you just recast the role over time. I mean, we could be having those conversations like you do with Bond. Like, who is your favorite Indiana Jones?
Right.
Of course, everybody has a respect for Harrison Ford like they do with Sean Connery when it comes to James Bond. But, I mean, you could be like, oh, I'm partial to Chris Pratt. Or, I liked when Bruce Campbell played him for one movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's always...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's this alternate universe where we've got like 3 other Indiana Jones already in the last 40 years. So it's like, I mean, I feel like that kind of Hollywood has gone away, and that's part of the problem. And I mean, look, I'm not advocating for sequels and reboots and all that kind of business, but it does feel like that aspect of Hollywood has kind of been lost. Sure, we keep diving into these franchises, but even James Bond doesn't do it right anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they got to reinvent the wheel every damn time. It's like, no. James Bond had the formula years ago. Sure, things get updated a little bit over time. They get a little bit more, modernized here and there.
Sure.
But you don't have to reinvent the fucking wheel every time. Everybody knows going into a James Bond. I've never even seen an entire James Bond movie outside of the first few. I can kind of follow along with them and know what the hell's probably going on and who's who and what the situation is. You don't need to reinvent it every time. We don't need a Batman Begins every 5 movies for James Bond. And the same thing goes for people like Batman and other characters.
Superman, sure.
Yeah. I mean, how have we not had just continuing sagas of Batman for the last 20 years in the same kind of continuity, just with different actors? It kind of was headed in that direction. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, and I'm not saying we didn't need those films.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's kind of where, Paul is coming from. Not every leading man in Hollywood has to be this super serious, dark, brooding, sexy Henry Cavill type, right? And then speaking of that, Henry Cavill is struggling to try and actually open a film. Like, I mean, I don't think he has a hit.
Yeah.
Really.
No.
I mean, but
he's
these
done
guys
such
do.
a diverse selection of projects, even from being in Mission Impossible to doing the Ungentlemanly Warfare, which I had hoped was going to actually be good, and unfortunately, it turned out not to be so good.
Did you like the film, or did you just mean the response to it?
The response.
Yeah, I was going to say, because the film itself I thought was actually really well done.
I think
the problem with it was the title.
Yep.
Number one. Number two is how it was marketed.
Yes.
Because, I mean, anybody who has been wanting to see Henry Cavill play James Bond, guess what? You got to see him play James Bond.
That's right. It was Ian Fleming sort of origin, if you will. It's a shame. Guy Ritchie, right? Wasn't that Guy Ritchie?
Yeah. I mean, and that's really what it was the origins of where Ian Fleming got the inspiration for James Bond, and Henry Cavill plays the guy who inspired him to write that character.
Yeah, I think that's the closest Cavill's going to get to James Bond, unfortunately for him. We have all this wish casting going on, and there's really no reason why they couldn't have done maybe a 5-year pause after, when would have been the right time for them not to have done another Indiana Jones movie?
Yeah, I mean, we had enough period. I mean, honestly, about 3 to 5 years after The Last Crusade is when they should have started doing this.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And it's not even because, I know Harrison Ford would have resisted it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Crystal Skull goes to show you why you kind of have to do this.
Well, and Crystal Skull, it almost felt like they were trying to set Shia LaBeouf up to kind of take.
And that's not the way to do it, right? No. And that's my whole point is you keep Indiana Jones in a time period and you keep just recasting him. You don't go out of that, 10, 15 year time period.
Yeah.
And Bond should start doing the same thing. This is where, we've talked about this before, is that James Bond shouldn't take place anywhere but the 60s or 70s.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I think that what would be fantastic is if they had just kept like you're saying, the Indiana Jones era from late 30s through the late 40s, just sort of that decade. And he has 3 adventures a year. There's 30 adventures. There's 30 movies, right there. But, the studios, they want it to be a spectacle. They want it to be epic. The story has to be big. Marvel Comics and Dark Horse Comics did sort of continuing adventures of Indiana Jones comic books, and some of them were quite silly, obviously, because it's just comic books and they have to crank out a new story every month. But there were a lot of novelizations. I think they could have kept doing it, and we don't. There is this need though from the studios for it to be a big spectacle. With James Bond, it's got to be a big spectacle. With the Marvel movies, it should be a big spectacle,
or at least for some of them. Like, I mean, not everyone has to be, but I get what you're saying. I totally agree with your sentiment. But I'm sorry if I'm really butchering your name. Byakuya says, I can't tell you how many Gen Z folks I've spoken to, and common sentiment is they want their own new thing that isn't older established. You know what? I have said this how many times, Chris?
Yeah.
How many times? And I agree with this. Like, honestly, we're sitting here waxing about Indiana Jones. No, the actuality is these guys need their own thing. And Byakuya is right, because at this point, like, I've said it dozens and dozens of times. The latest new thing that kids had was like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, that's why my kid gravitated towards like Fast and the Furious and some other stuff, because that was some of the only other new things his generation
kind of James or Indiana Jones type Tom Holland movie that came out. It was a video game.
Not Tomb Raider, Uncharted.
Uncharted. I think it was Uncharted.
Yeah,
no,
Uncharted.
I totally agree, because there's a real problem going on these days. It's particularly bad at Disney, where Disney is creating live action movies for adults. Snow White was not for the Gen Z people at all. It was for the
No.
adults who are banking. So they're banking on nostalgia for the adults to somehow convince Gen Z and younger to like something that's decades old. Even the Lilo and Stitch movie, that's going to appeal more. I mean, my daughter, she's 25. She loved it. She cried at it.
Well,
Okay?
that's the
That's
audience it
for.
was made for.
That's
Exactly.
not for the
Yeah.
10-year-olds and 11-year-olds or whatever. They've already got the cartoon if they need to watch it. And I'm not saying that something that's old can't appeal, because my gosh, growing up, I watched Three Stooges, Little Rascals, Tom and
Bugs
Jerry.
Bunny, and
Yeah. But they do need new things to get hooked on. What was the Robert Rodriguez series, Spy Kids?
Mhm.
I thought that was a great franchise for
example,
that
yeah.
generation's kids, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be more of that. I thought Alita Angel was going to pick up. There are a few things where they try it, and for whatever reason, either it costs too much or the studio didn't market it well or whatever. So it just doesn't see any dish. It doesn't sustain itself, right? And so, and you and I, we have these big platforms, you with the Midnight's Edge, and of course me making some appearances on here, but also with Bleeding Fool.
Right.
And I think we are kind of nostalgic for some of these better handled properties from back in the day. You know, you look at something like freaking Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, that was such a perfect movie, kicking off what could have been really a long running, wonderful franchise, and did for a while.
The Hollywood, Renaissance was the 70s and 80s, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that Hollywood is trying to emulate now is that era, right? Like they're trying to take it like, no, you're missing the point. It wasn't those specific things that they did. It was the fact that they took those chances and those movies became enduring to us.
Yeah.
And I got to agree with, I guess this is Neil actually. How you doing, Neil? Like I've been saying this for a while, and it's they got to try something new. Like it's pretty sad when my most favorite films the last few years, outside of maybe Nosferatu, right, which is technically a remake, but it's a remake of a 100-year-old film,
Sure,
right, and a 100-plus-year-old novel.
Yeah.
I mean, this on the other hand, like the last few years, my favorite films have been stuff like The Beekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like original properties. I mean, even Twisters being a sequel to a movie from 30 years ago, it still kind of stands on its own. You don't have to have seen Twister to watch it. There's nothing about it that really requires you to even be aware of Twister, to be honest with you.
It's kind of like a cheat code, though, that the studios are doing, because the same thing could be said about Maverick, right? You didn't need to see the first one to enjoy the
not really, no. I mean, it establishes everything you need.
Yeah, but it's still kind of a cheat code, because you're still tapping into, oh man, they made a sequel to Twister, or oh man, they made a sequel to Top Gun. We got to go see this, right? It's the
Top Gun was still a little more attached to the original film.
Oh, sure, yeah, because I don't think anybody from the first Twister movie appeared.
In fact, I mean, I'm kind of two minds of it. Like, part of me is like glad they didn't, but at the same time, I'm like, that one chick should have been, what's his face, and Bill Paxton and Helen, whatever name, whichever
Helen
one
Hunt. Yes,
yeah, Helen Hunt's daughter.
Yeah,
I mean, the only cameo you get is the machine.
That's
Dorothy.
right. Yeah, Dorothy.
Like,
right.
That's the only cameo.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
And it's like, the least it could have been is like if she would have been the daughter of those two, and you had Helen she's like boarded herself up because Bill Paxton maybe died during a storm, when they were chasing a storm or something like that.
Right.
You could have had that kind of play into the whole thing, and that's why she doesn't want her daughter doing the same stuff. But you didn't need it necessarily. It wasn't necessary. The movie was still, in fact, I would argue in some places, I know some people said in the chat they didn't like Twisters. I didn't think the first one was all that great. I thought the first one was kind of overrated, and there was a bunch of crap in it that I found unbelievable. At least in this one, I felt like I wasn't taken out of the movie as much as the first one. Yeah. So to me, this one might actually be the better of the two films, but that's just a personal thing.
Well, Jamie Gertz is my biggest problem with the first one. I don't like her in anything, so. But I did like that last scene. It was very emotional. It was very intense, And of course, that's early Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? So I did enjoy his character and his acting in it. But yeah, I hear
No,
you.
I mean, the first movie has some great bits to it, but like there's just certain moments where it's like they're driving next to the fucking storm or next to the tornado and like the tractor and shit are flying around. It's like, okay, if that, I know being from Wisconsin, that tractor weighs probably almost twice as much as that pickup truck.
Yeah.
And they're just driving along, no problem.
Right. Right.
That took me right out of the movie. I'm like, they would be flying off the ground, flipping over. Just, no, this is not accurate at all. Not that I'm expecting much accuracy out of a summer tentpole film like that, but, you know, like at the end of the day, I was kind of surprised, like most people, that Twisters actually did as well as it did, considering.
Yeah.
But that being said, Glenn Powell's had some other things too, and so has
Chris Pratt.
But
Yeah.
the difference here, and this kind of was what I was getting at earlier, is both of these guys, haven't they kind of had to play the streaming game on top of it all? Like they do the movies, but they also have had to do streaming movies and series, right? Like,
Yeah. There's Glenn Powell. Powell's also in Maverick, of course. Powell. The thing about Powell that still gives me that sort of generic vibes is, you know what he really reminds me? What actor he reminds me of more than anyone? You could probably cast them as brothers. Guy Pearce. Doesn't he look a whole lot like Guy Pearce to you? He sure does to me. Especially when he doesn't have any facial hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and look, the great thing about these two guys is they're likable.
Yeah.
But yet they can handle the action. And that's why I liked Harrison Ford. Is actually kind of a great for both of them, to be honest. You know, and Chris Pratt actually kind of reminds me of an Eddie Murphy, to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's able to do great deadpan improvisation.
Yeah.
And he can make you laugh. And I could see him doing a lot of the stuff that Eddie did back in the day with, you know, just the way he's able to take control. And I think a lot of it's because he was on Parks and Rec, right? I mean, he had that in his background.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, that's the thing with Eddie was the same thing too, is he could come in and, you know, it's like, make this scene work, right? Like they could just say that to him. And I mean, one of the best scenes he's ever did where he made shit work is like, I'm sure you've seen Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't have anything in the script where he pulls up in his Chevy Nova to the big fancy restaurant where he goes to confront the bad guy. And it just has Axel pulls up the car and the valet takes the car away. Yeah. And he's like, can you come up with something here, Eddie? So he comes up with 3 or 4 improv lines until he finally comes up with the last one that they use in the movie, which is, last time I was here, all this shit happened to this car. Can you park it in a better place this time? So I mean, he's that kind of a guy, right? He's able to come up with those kind of things in the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about Glenn as far as him claiming to be sillier and funnier. I never really quite saw him in that way. Of course, in Twisters, his character is kind of that maverick type of.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, Glenn he's been in like some comedy, dramedy type things like Sex Ed, Everybody Wants Some, something on. He was in that movie Hidden Figures, I think, which wasn't really a comedy. I have not seen Hitman yet. I've been meaning to watch that on streaming, where he plays, or he got kind of stuck faking being a hitman. It's a Linkletter directed it, so I assume he's got some comedy chops. But you know, this is part of like a longer interview I think that he did with GQ recently, where he really says that the key to masculinity is also presenting a vulnerable side to yourself. I don't know.
I mean, I think these guys are able to do that without making it cucky. If that's a word.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, especially Chris Pratt, like in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, you know this guy's history. You know what he's gone through. I mean, he's pretty much been kidnapped and you know, smuggled into outer space, and he was supposed to be turned over to his dad and all this other business that we learn about. And I mean, yeah, I mean, he has a lot of depth to his character in that movie. And I agree with you. He has a vulnerable side, but I wouldn't say it's a vulnerable side that makes him, what's the word I'm looking for?
Weak.
Cocky, I guess. Yeah, weak is the other way. Even though people disagree with what happened in Infinity War, I'm like, and I remember when we were all arguing about it, I'm like, the fact that we're all debating and arguing about it,
yep,
shows you what he was struggling with at that time. And anybody who's been in love or has a child, you know, knows that struggle where it's like, you know what, this may not be the right decision for everybody else, but it's the right decision for me or my family or whatever it is at that time. Everybody else be damned.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what Chris's character is going through in that moment. Star-Lord is, and you know, even though he, you know, he's kind of the reason a lot of this shit happens and goes off. It's that moment of pure, you know, especially somebody who knows what it's like to get, you know, upset about things.
Yeah.
You know,
well, it humanizes him, right?
It shows him very human, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, it tore his heart apart to hear that the woman he loved sacrificed herself that way.
Yeah. Imagine just for a minute. I don't think I could envision Chris Pratt playing an invulnerable character, right? Like Superman or somebody like that.
No, he's wrong for that kind of a role. Exactly. Yeah.
Totally wrong. And I think that's what Gunn was trying to do a little bit with this new Superman, to sort of humanize Superman a bit so that you could identify with him a little better than maybe you have in the past, like when you're shooting a bullet at his eyeball or something, right?
Yeah.
I just remember, I think maybe the first time I saw Pratt was in Parks and Rec playing Andy.
Yep.
I liked his character every time. Totally silly, also vulnerable, also masculine, you know, in many ways. He was
like a guy's guy on that show. Like
probably my favorite character. Yeah, probably my favorite character.
Oh, he was the only guy. Look, I'll be honest with you. I hated that show. And it's nothing other than, look, the mockumentary style on sitcoms got way overused.
Yeah.
Between The Office and all, like, for a while, that'd be the only sitcoms you would get. Even what was that family show that was doing the same damn thing?
Oh,
Modern Family, is that it?
Oh no, I was thinking of something else.
It might be another show I'm thinking of. You could be right, but like there was a few of them, like a handful of them, like that just kind of became the style they were doing it in, and I just wasn't a fan of that because to me, and you know what's funny about this is I wrote a pilot episode that was in the same style, and when I got done doing it, I'm like, you know what? This is lazy. This is just an easy way to make jokes and do cut shots to just random people talking, and that just gets. You know, so I realized how lazy it was.
Yeah, it's a cheat.
It is kind of a cheat compared to what, like, you know, and it's funny because Spinal Tap comes out this week. What those guys were doing with their mockumentary style, which is completely 100%, you know, in the moment, you know, improvisation comparatively to what they're doing. It's the same kind of thing, but it's different because they're actually playing out the scenes in improv too. It's very. If they were to do it that way, I think I'd give it a little bit more respect. But no, at the same time, my whole point is Chris Pratt was the highlight of the show. I agree with you. His character was
it wasn't
the
doing
reason to watch. Yeah.
No, the show wasn't doing it. Like you mentioned, this is Spinal Tap, probably the best mockumentary of all time, right? Barat tried to do the same kind of thing for a while. What We Do in the Shadows, I thought was also very unique. But, you know, Christopher Guest, he's done that mockumentary style several times. Best in Show, Mighty Men, they're all really good. And The Office was pretty good. There is a series I think Bill Hader did called Documentary Now. It might still be going. That is worth watching, where they basically do send-ups of classic documentaries, but they do it from not a different angle, but really a different subject matter. So it might be a documentary of the Manson family, but they're doing a documentary of, you know, something absurd similar to it. But they kind of remake a lot of the same.
I think I kind of vaguely remember because didn't they make fun of like the 7-Up documentaries and some of the other ones?
Yeah. And Helen Mirren is the host, sort of like she presents it like it's coming on PBS or something. It's worth checking.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, it was sort of played out after The Office to do it every week on television, and that's another thing that I think kind of made it seem lazy because they weren't really breaking any new ground. You know, it was just sort of, this is just the pattern formula that we're going to do, enjoy it. And they went as far as they could. But I really like Chris Pratt. I actually liked him in The Terminal List, even though I thought The Terminal List premise was absolutely unbelievable.
Well, now that's one of the features I was talking about where it's straight to streaming, right? So
Yes, right. Well, it was a series. Yeah, it was a series.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. We watched it to the end, but it was a little bit. It was a stretch, right? But liking Chris, what was that movie he did where they wake up in a spaceship and
Oh, that really bad movie
yeah, I
with
didn't care for that at all. He just didn't come
yeah.
off well in that.
I'm trying to remember the name of it now because I remember seeing it too, and it was really bad.
Yeah, somebody in the chat will know what
He's
that
like
is.
space stalker guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a good decision.
Passengers. Thank you guys. Yeah.
Passengers, that's right. Yeah, but I also don't like the chick. What's her name?
I can't even remember
I
who
don't
it was
care
that was
for
in
her
it
at
now.
all. But
yeah.
I haven't watched the Tomorrow War, but I liked him in Jurassic World. Okay, it was a fun movie for
He
him.
carried those movies,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, look, and this is somebody who is a Jurassic fan of the original films. And actually, I just finally listened to the audiobook for The Lost World for the first time on my trip to Mikey's. So, like, yeah, like, I mean, he carried those movies completely.
Yeah.
Was it Jennifer Lawrence was the other person?
That's right.
In that? Yeah, J-Law.
Yeah. They're doing a
First woman in space.
I think there's going to be a Terminal List sequel or something, and
I thought they already did, but that's why I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know yet. And then he's got a few other minor movies, and he's doing Super Mario World next year, and a movie called Mercy. I think I don't know a whole lot about, but
he's plenty busy, but I don't think he's nearly as overutilized as Pedro Pascal. Right?
No, I agree. It's almost like they're just trying to find a franchise for Pedro so we can see him all the time. I would like Pratt to find a movie franchise beyond Jurassic World. So,
yeah,
he can.
Yeah.
He's in his what? He's 45, 46 now.
He's around my age, yeah, or our age. I don't know. I think we're close, but yeah. But no, they just actually. It's funny you mentioned Jurassic because they just announced another one with ScarJo, I guess.
Oh, good.
So she's the new star of that franchise, I guess.
And honestly, I've said it before on this show. I think she has very limited range.
Honestly, she's horrible in that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for saying so.
No, she is. She comes off as such a cookie cutter character. And I was one of the few people to say it at first. I'm sure people agree with me and have said it since, but I'm like, she is the worst character with PTSD I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
She claims to have it in the first few minutes of the movie and then yet never shows it again. Never demonstrates it again in the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And she is so girl bossy in that movie and people let it go and slide so easily. I'm just like, she seems like she's phoning it in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing about her. Like, at least in Black... Yeah. Well, at least in Black Widow, I would say, like, look, I know why everybody hates that movie. I especially hate the last half of that movie.
Yep.
But I'll be damned if those two didn't charm me with their chemistry in the first half, especially with David Harbour thrown into the mix.
Sure.
But once the movie turns to shit is when, it's the last half. But here she had zero
at the end. Yeah.
She was just like phoning it in here, it felt like.
Well, every time she's on camera, it looks like she's phoning it in. She looks like some sort of MK Ultra survivor. I don't know what it is about her, but she's just got this deadness.
She's uneven as Black Widow as well. So you're not wrong there.
Yeah. Now I am, speaking of Glenn Powell, I am curious about his Edgar Wright movie coming up this year. When is that? The Running Man. When is that coming?
Oh yeah, that's coming out soon, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
gotta be.
That's got some weird buzz to it. I mean,
I know. Well, it's got Josh Brolin, it's got Glenn Powell, and it's got Edgar Wright writing it. And I know this is a remake. I know this is a rehash.
Is it though?
Exactly. Because I'd never bought the best thing about the original Schwarzenegger Running Man was it Richard Dawson? Was he the game show host or whatever? I liked him in the movie as
only reruns.
Yeah, right. It looks like it's coming out in November. So I'm hoping that does well. I know Stephen King is probably hoping it does well.
Well, I keep hearing, and this is where I'm not so sure. I don't want to jump to conclusions about it yet. Is I keep hearing it's not so much a remake as it is a readaptation of the book.
Yes. Okay.
Which, if that's the case, then cool. Because Total Recall had a problem with that, where it was kind of this. They kept trying to sell it like it was, oh no, this is more an adaptation. No, and then you get to the movie and it's clearly a remake of the fucking Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
Because if you know anything about the differences, and they even throw certain bits and pieces and scenes in there, and it kind of reminded me of the Carrie remake. Because there was a point where the Carrie remake is like, and I guess initially it wasn't a remake. And the reason I say that is because the original version, I guess, was just a straight adaptation of the book, and it was the studio that mandated they go back in and put in a bunch of the stuff that what's his face, De Palma had come up with for the original film, like Carrie's hand coming out at the end and all that kind of stuff. So like those little bits that they reshot and added back in my opinion, made it a remake. Because that's the difference to me, is like if you're taking an original story that was a book, and as long as you don't take anything from the movie that everybody knows, and you just make a straight readaptation of the book, to me that's a readaptation. It's not a remake. But the moment you start stealing shit from older movies and throwing it in, then it's no longer an adaptation. It's just a remake.
Well, I wonder sometimes if that's studio interference. You know what I mean? Kind of like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah.
I really love that scene from this. You should include that. Well, it's not in the book. Well, I will, and so I feel
and
like
I think that's what happened to Carrie, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm certain that's what goes on.
Because all those fucking people, they've never read the book. They just saw the movie and they're like, well, where's this scene? Well, where's that scene? And the guy's like, well, that was made up for the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that happens sometimes. And the thing about Edgar Wright, he's got such an interesting career, and I tend to like quite a bit of the stuff he's done. Shaun of the Dead, Baby Driver, Last Night in Soho, I actually liked. I'm trying to remember some of the other stuff. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Hot Fuzz, and he had originally a strong idea for Ant-Man, as I'm sure because
we actually did a video on that. Yeah, and some of his ideas are still in the film.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think he's the one that convinced Marvel to even do the character. I don't think.
Right. He was meant to do it before the MCU was even really kind of a big deal yet.
Yeah.
And by the time they got around to his version, Feige wanted to change so much that him and Edgar didn't see eye to eye, because Feige, of course, and whoever else was in charge of that stuff was like, well, we need to do this, this, and that, so it, syncs up with the Marvel Universe now, not when it was originally written. And
that's right.
he's just you're good, bless you, you're on your own, kind of thing. Like,
well, I'm sure he got a nice paycheck. I feel like Edgar Wright really understands the medium of movies, that particularly like the Scott Pilgrim versus the World, what you can get away with in a movie, he does sort of push that boundary a lot. And that, I think, could really work for this Running Man movie, since it's a game show type thing. I think we may see something really special. I hope so. And
I'm willing to give it more of a chance than I normally would. Yeah,
me too. Yeah, me too. Because it's Edgar Wright.
Yeah, and it's kind of like with the Highlander thing with Stahelski and Henry Cavill and all that business.
Yes.
To talk about the brooding men, right?
Yes.
And again, like you brought up with Superman, it's like, I just actually was talking about this with somebody else yesterday. It seems like there isn't a day that goes by where somebody doesn't ask me this for some reason, but why James Gunn decided not to use Henry Cavill. It's like he never was going to. And it goes to your point that you were saying in the beginning with his version of Superman, even before he was the head of DC Universe, when the Superman was basically like the Batman, just an Elseworld story.
Right.
He always was going to do this gee golly shucks, big blue Boy Scout version of Superman, and Cavill just doesn't fit that.
No,
Cavill's too dark.
Yep.
Like he's perfect for Highlander.
Yeah.
But like Superman, yes, he looks like Superman, but I mean, the most we got out of him where he was Superman, and I hate saying this because a lot of people get pissy when I do, but it's fucking true, was in the Justice League. When Joss Whedon reshot all his shit and actually made him more like Superman.
Right.
Well, and the most Superman scene is that end credit scene where he's racing the Flash. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I love that. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I probably have, not to beat a dead horse, but I've got all of the Snyderverse movies on a timeline, trying to cut it all into like this Netflix series of 1 hour increments. And the Flash racing scene that Joss shot at the end of Justice League is in there, because that's a great sequence. And I think that Joss Whedon, scumbag that he is, does understand levity and comic books and things like that, which is why his Avengers, I think, was so good. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer was so good. But every now and then he just hits a really sour note
Yeah.
when he does stuff.
And you can do these things serious. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against serious superhero. I think most Batman films should probably be more serious, right? Like, you don't want to lean into the campy with that again, or we're going to get Adam West. But when it comes to Superman and certain superheroes, I think you need that levity there to understand and remember that, yes, these guys are guys in tights with superpowers. You know what I mean? And like with Superman, I got to keep reminding people, like, you know, one of his biggest villains is a little imp from another dimension called Mr. Mxyzptlk, you know, and he's got a flying dog. And, you know, like, I mean, people forget these things. And it's like, I grew up on Super Friends. So me seeing this version of Superman, I'm fine with it. I get people who aren't. And I think you said yourself you weren't as big of a fan of this movie. And I totally get that. Some people want a more super serious Superman, and that's fair. But we've had so many super serious Superman now for the last 50 years. I think it's time we get back to the big blue Boy Scout. I'm fine with that. And I think that the way the DC universe is going, we'll have to see. But I mean, Chris Pratt has already been talked about being brought into that. You know, he could be Booster Gold was a name that keeps getting, you know, thrown out there for him. I mean, I could see Glenn Powell even as somebody in the DC universe as well. Like maybe even like a Shazam type or somebody like that, you know, somebody who's, you know, kind of a little egotistical, or maybe not Shazam, but you know what I mean? Somebody.
Maybe a Batman villain even.
Honestly, he'd be a great Batman.
Maybe.
He's got the jawline for it.
I was about to say, it's funny him talking about Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson. Maybe he's angling for the Batman thing.
Maybe he's subconsciously, throwing something out there going, you know what?
Throwing shade on the last two Batmen, right?
Well, and I'm not going to be surprised if James Gunn's Batman isn't a little bit more leaning into the Silver Age, Golden Age. Like I said,
fine if he had some fun, right? I mean, does Batman always have to be so dour?
No, not necessarily. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Batcave and it has the big penny and it has the Tyrannosaurus and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's almost like it's like we have totally tapped the superhero genre. You know, you're talking earlier about Gen Z wanting their own things. Well, Superman's not Gen Z's thing, right?
Oh, fuck no. It's our grandfather's thing at this point.
So, I mean, I feel like, you know, and we've alluded to this several times. I know you've said it on the show, I don't know how many times, but it's like, is the superhero genre tapped out, or is it dead, or is it over? Is it kind of like is it going to go the way of the Western and, you know, maybe have a renaissance
I think it is
a decade or so from now? I don't know.
It might. I mean, I think, I think it would have lasted longer hadn't been for the woke. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's all superhero fatigue. But all these things, every single thing goes through a cycle and then it goes through fatigue. We've seen it a couple times with zombies. We've seen it with vampires. I don't know how many fucking times now. Same thing with werewolves, and those things seem cyclical. Not to be kind of punny with werewolves, but it's like it's always one or the other, right? It's either zombies are popular, werewolves are popular, or vampires are popular right now. It's just one of those things. Sometimes they'll cross over, and you'll get like, you know, zombie vampires or werewolves versus vampires and whatnot. But like it generally seems to be like that's kind of the case, and the same thing with slasher films. I mean, action films are the same kind of way. You had an era where it was the dark and brooding Death Wish, Dirty Harry type films, and then all of a sudden, you know, we've talked about, you know, Beverly Hills Cop earlier. Ironically, I'm just happen to be wearing that shirt. And movies like 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop introduced this new era of, you know, action films can be fun. You know, they can be fun and funny at the same time. And you got The Odd Couple, but an action film. And that's what 48 Hours was, right? And Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop was the fish out of water in an action film. So it's basically taking these comedy elements and mixing them. And it was before that. You had, you know, the buddy cop films that started in the 70s, like, I just forgot the name of it, but I think Franklin Joe and the other guy were in it. The Freebie and the Bean and stuff like that you had, which kind of started that genre. But it was perfected and reconfigured.
Did it. And I think you're right with the, not just Beverly Hills Cop, but 48 Hours, like you said. Which I think kind of led to movies like Lethal Weapon, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. And that again was the next evolution of the buddy cop film with Lethal Weapon, right? And because like I said, you had this kind of, and that's kind of where Tarantino comes in too, not to throw another one of my favorites in there, but where he takes all these different genres and stories
Yeah.
and mixes them up and makes it feel fresh.
Yeah.
And that's what this new generation is missing. They need their new things.
Yeah.
And these guys might be some of the guys to usher that stuff in. We
Maybe.
can hope for them, but yeah.
Well, I think Edgar Wright is a lot like Quentin Tarantino. As you say, they both understand cinema very well and what sort of are willing to push the boundaries of it, and generally end up producing a pretty good product, particularly Tarantino. I mean, I can't think of, all I can do is tell you which one of his movies I like the least, and I like them all, you know.
Right. I just
it.
have to remind people about Death Proof usually. They're like, oh, yeah, that's my least favorite one.
What's great about Death Proof, though, yeah, I'm with you. That's mine too. That is my least favorite. What's great about Death Proof is what he was doing, using a female stunt woman as his lead star.
Yeah.
You know, if you set aside Kurt Russell, and those stunts, that car's doing 80 miles an hour, and she's on the hood. You know,
it's still fun, right?
Yeah. And once you just appreciate it for what it is, you can enjoy it a little bit more. I'm not necessarily big on Kurt Russell being the bad guy. I'm trying to remember. Wasn't he trying to get Mickey Rourke originally?
I believe that it was, yeah, and it's one of the few times Kurt Russell played, and I think that's the one thing I've noticed. Speaking of Chris Pratt and all this stuff, everybody because I always loved Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm like, in some cases, I'm like, it's almost a better movie. In fact, did anybody not step back and look at the Guardians films and figure out what James is doing? He was just remaking the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
and Guardians 2 is the Empire movie, and like people are like, yeah, but I don't like Kurt Russell as the bad guy. It's like that's what it is. Most people don't, and I think that's the problem with Death Proof is most people don't like. He's just one of those actors.
Yep.
You don't like seeing play the bad guy.
That's right.
You just can't. No, I can't do it. You know, John Travolta, Nicolas Cage. You can get to it. You can go. Oh yeah, I can see him playing a bit of a villain. Right?
Yeah.
Not for some reason. Kurt Russell. People have a resistance to that, and I'm trying to think of any other time he's played a villain besides those two times, and I can't.
No, I mean, you could argue that he kind of plays an anti-hero, of course, in Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Yeah, but that's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But, I've always liked Kurt Russell. He is one of those actors, a lot like Harrison Ford, I think. Although I think Harrison Ford can open up a film far better than Glenn Powell, right? Like
he used to be able to, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. He had sort of this nice 20-year run, maybe 30.
I think the last movie that Harrison ever actually opened was Air Force One, if I'm not mistaken. Which is like one of his biggest openings too, I think.
NH movie that Ivan Reitman.
It did well, but I don't know if it opened.
Yeah, I think that was the end, though. I think that was sort of.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because then he did like Hollywood, whichever one it was with Josh Hart in it, and some of these other ones that just flopped. Yeah,
but no, I like
internet Kurt one he did.
I like the chemistry Kurt and Pratt had also in that movie. I thought they did great. I thought it was they played off each other well, and I think Pratt's in that Kurt Russell.
Yes,
milieu or sort of that same sort of character actor, right?
Yeah,
somebody you'd want to be friends with, hang out with, have a beer with, hang out, and just be.
I don't think I could see him play a villain either. In that same.
No.
Now Glenn, on the other hand, I could.
Yep.
But not Chris. I just don't think Chris could play a convincing villain. And that's probably why I didn't like Passenger.
Yeah,
because he's playing like this villainous role, and you just don't.
Kind of, yeah. What he did when he did that to her, you were like, no, this isn't. You just didn't like it.
Well, it reminds me also of like, okay, I'm not a big fan of films like Anger Management, and I'll tell you why.
Okay,
because it's like Monster-in-Law, all these kind of movies where people are so mean to each other.
Yeah.
Like where that's the joke. It's like, okay, so that's your gimmick, is that these people are going to be so mean to each other to the point where one of them will either want to kill the other one or will kill the other one. And then you get to like Monster-in-Law, where it's so bad, where it's like both of those people would have killed each other twice over by now and been in prison. So like that's the kind of vibe I get. It's a very mean-spirited, I don't care for it kind of thing. I don't like those kind of movies, like where somebody's deliberately being mean to somebody else on purpose throughout the entire film, and that's the whole thing about it. Election is another movie that reminds me of that kind of tone.
Meet the Fox.
And I'm not saying anybody who likes those things, there's anything wrong with you. It's just me personally, I don't like that mean-spirited
what about
thing in my movies.
Brothers?
Step Brothers is a little different because it's those two battling for superiority to the point where they end up becoming friends.
Yeah.
See, that's a little different. It's kind of an odd couple thing. See, odd couple is a little different, right?
Okay.
These are two people that normally wouldn't get along, but all of a sudden they are for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like anger management is literally just Jack Nicholson's character's reasoning in that whole movie is to just keep pissing off and hurting and upsetting Adam Sandler's character.
Right.
And even when they do the whole reveal at the end or whatever, I still don't like Monster in Law is a better example of it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I sat through that movie for an ex-girlfriend of mine and I'm just going, why would you like this? This is the most, it's just mean spirited. And then fucking to have what's her face, Jane Fonda or whatever, come out of retirement for this.
Ugh.
Like this is just garbage.
Yeah.
To me, and just a personal thing. It's nothing. Like I said, if you like those kind of movies, that's cool. I get it. Some people like that kind of humor. It's just not my style.
The only thing I like about anger management is the meme of Jack Nicholson nodding. You know,
I mean, it has its moments. That's one of the better ones.
Well,
but
I'm just saying,
because
I've
those
used-
you
yeah,
get to see those two together. That was the upside of that,
right? Yeah, that was the upside for sure.
But just the idea of somebody being pushed like that all the time on purpose.
Yeah,
just,
I didn't like War of the Roses for the same reason.
That's one of those strange exceptions. Like I agree with you. It is a movie that falls into that category.
Yeah.
But it's almost like those two characters have a reason. Like, does that
Oh,
make
no,
sense?
no, I'm with you. But it followed so closely to after their what was that fun Indiana Jones type movie that the
the Romancing Stone and Jewel of the Nile movies.
I wanted more of that.
It was one of Robert's darker films, that's for sure. Almost darker than Death Becomes Her, which almost goes into that level.
It does, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the fact that those two characters start to work together, that it kind of works for me. And then they end up getting their comeuppance by Bruce Willis at the end. But see, that's the thing is I don't like it when there's, and I know we got on some stupid tangent now, but sorry about that. That's what happens when there's no news.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And Grumpy Old Men is basically just Odd Couple.
Yeah.
See, and those two have, that's what I love about that, because if you know men, especially grumpy old men like that, they hold these stupid fucking grudges for years. And that's what I love about those movies, the grumpy old men ones, is because they actually do genuinely love each other. And you can tell they never go out of their way to be super mean spirited. Like their pranks are more, like the dead fish thing. Right? Like that to me is not as bad as some of the shit. Like, I mean, by anger management, I'm trying to remember, it's been years since I've seen it, but like at some point, isn't like Adam Sandler, like basically he loses his job and his girlfriend and all, basically destroying somebody's life, like going out of your way to do that on purpose. It just, the grumpy old men thing is more of a rivalry thing. It's just,
right.
And they just call each other names and stuff. Like, it's all over a girl from years and years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Adam Sandler, that was sort of one of the later Sandler comedies that was kind of annoying and infuriating for me.
It is. Yeah. See, that's what it does. It makes me angry watching it.
Yeah.
That's
you have
the
to
reaction.
manage your anger watching it, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like, why are you doing this? This is just mean.
It's cringy. Yeah, it really is.
But like stuff like the Grumpy Old Men, I can get through that. Like that's a little different. Those are goofy little, almost harmless, right? Like that's a little different to me. And it's not like they're not trying to kill each other, literally, like in Monster in Law.
Yeah.
Because like there's that one scene where she gives her the nuts or whatever that she's allergic to, and she slips them in those, I can't remember, like biscuits or cookies or something like that. And I'm just sitting here going, she could have fucking killed her.
That's right.
Like I'm just going like,
anyway. I can't get with it. No.
Anyway, we've gone way past that.
You're absolutely right. It's hard to watch.
But Dark King says 7 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. makes for better Australians. Well, hopefully it will be better for everybody. I know some people it's going to be the movie is going to be a pain in the butt, and you may have to watch us on the replay. But
and that's not 7 p.m. Pacific; it's 7 a.m. Pacific. Dark King.
7 a.m. Pacific. Sorry.
Yeah, he said p.m., but I hope he understands that's not what it is.
And then Dark King also says for 5 Australian. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine put Indy in the early Cold War, late 40s, early 50s. It worked better than the last two films. I'm not saying it's not possible. I just think that Indiana Jones works best punching Nazis. And not only that, the last two films really kind of seem to forget what the first three films were about.
Yeah.
Because even Temple of Doom being a non-Christian based religious artifact, it still was a religious artifact.
Yeah.
Like, because like the whole thing is that Indy is kind of a non-believer of sorts.
Right.
But he keeps being face to face with things that would make anybody else believe.
Right. Yeah, you'd think at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, you'd say, hey, there is a God. Maybe I should bow down to him or something. Right. Yeah.
I think by then he kind of like, yeah, maybe there's something to this religious thing. But like, yeah, I think that's kind of the point of the film.
Steven Spielberg insert, though. I mean, Spielberg was also another very religious movie Spielberg was involved with. Was that DreamWorks animation, not Joseph, but about David, Prince of Egypt.
Yeah. The basically the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, and of course Spielberg's Jewish, and the Ark of the Covenant is your Old Testament icon where the 10 Commandments have been placed, and it houses sort of the power of God and was used against the Israelites and by the Israelites as a weapon, which is kind of alluded to, I think briefly discussed in the movie. I agree. I think that when he got into the aliens in the 50s, Crystal Skull, that was...
The nod in the intro was fine. It's when the whole movie became about that. That's what bothered me.
Yeah.
The little Area 52 nod was okay, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I kind of looked forward to the premise, and they just didn't handle it well or something.
And he could have transitioned to the Russians just fine, because that's all you had to do is have Indy say, Nazis, Russian commies, they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
they're always trying to steal some artifact.
Yeah,
and that's what all it had to be, is just another religious. It didn't even have to be a Christian religious artifact.
Right.
It just. But to me, the whole alien interdimensional species thing really ruined it. And then in the time, don't even get me started on the time travel. Like,
yeah, oh my gosh. Well, that's the thing. We went from aliens to time travel, and it should have stuck with things historical. Icons
Atlantis
and legends
or something like that
on this planet, right? Something on this planet, whether that's he goes to Easter Island for something and there's caverns underneath, or
El Dorado, Atlantis. There's a dozen other things he could have
so many things that he could have done, and they didn't.
Yeah, and Mecha J, you're not wrong. Like, this is one of the famous stories. In fact, I think you can catch it in the making of Indiana Jones, where Steven's like, George kept coming to me this story with aliens. And I'm like, I don't want to do another movie about aliens. And this was the script that was leaked online and was going around for years. And everybody's like, do not make this fucking movie. We thought it was a joke. And then finally Steven gave in, because George is like, well, they're not aliens. They're interdimensional beings. He's like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think at that point they just had to make a movie. Like, it was
wore him down and the time ran out. Yep.
Yeah, it was like they were just gonna make this was gonna happen one way or the other, whether they had a decent script or not. And this is where I think if you go back through Steven's career, as I say, there's usually a movie, whether it's a movie that a director is very personally attached to that flops, or a movie like this where they're just kind of forced into doing it, where from there on out they're just phoning it in. And they don't give a shit anymore. And this is what Tarantino's talking about when he says, I only want to do my 10 movies and no more than that. This is part of what I think he's getting at. Because this is where Spielberg decided, fuck it, and just starts phoning it in from here on out. Sure, he had Lincoln and a couple other movies that got some praise, but I mean, even fucking, the greatest musician can fart out a fucking song once in a great while and it still be a hit. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, he's not the same guy. He has not made a Steven Spielberg film since.
I just didn't know. Where did Spielberg, you think this is where he kind of fell?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's the moment I think he kind of just like became just the corporate tool.
Yeah.
He's no longer Steven Spielberg, the filmmaker. Because even what he's going against a lot of the shit he said he would never do. And another point of that was when he did War of the Worlds. Because before that, he said he would never make a movie where the aliens were the bad guys. In fact, he said he was done making alien films.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Like, he's like, I've done enough. I think I've said everything I can say about aliens at this point.
Right.
And then he turns around and does the Indiana Jones thing in War of the Worlds. And I get it. Some people like War of the Worlds. I'm not shitting on the film. But if you watch that movie, that's not a Steven Spielberg movie at all. It's just him phoning it in. And then he does that AI movie, and it's not even. And again, then him trying to be Kubrick. And I think that's where he lost his way.
I'm not of two minds about AI. Honestly, I think, I mean, I just miss Kubrick, and I was hoping for something else there. I guess, you know, the movie just wasn't ready to be made, and that's why it shouldn't have been made. But I mean, there's value in watching it. I've even,
and it's not about evolving or changing your mind, Six. I just feel like there's a difference. It's like if you felt like he had an alien story to tell,
yeah,
there was an original tale of his, like E.T. and Close Encounters, different conversation. Him doing War of the Worlds was pure gimmick. It was at the early stages of DreamWorks. They needed a hit. It had Tom Cruise in it. It was a known property. You got Steven Spielberg making an alien movie. It was all... It was just manufactured. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And what was they did Minority Report, Cruise and Spielberg.
That is kind of like, that is a really... one of his last really Spielbergian kind of films, but that's even him still leaning more into the darker realm. Because Steven always liked to get a little dark, but he never got too dark. I mean, even look at Poltergeist. It's a very tongue-in-cheek, even though he didn't direct it, but I mean, he had, you know, great influence over it and writing it and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even Temple of Doom with its scariness. Like, he got edgy in the past, but he never got dark and dour until later in his career, post Schindler's List, basically.
Yeah, it's like he took a black pill at some point. And I think Spielberg and Cruise kind of had a falling out, didn't they, on that War of the Worlds?
It might have been over Scientology, and I think that was the movie that he bounced up and down on the couch during, so that didn't help.
That's right, and they haven't worked together since then.
No. I think Tom Cruise has learned his lesson, though. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And then Kalekiyoki.
I think, when was it when Spielberg personally publicly thanked Cruise for saving cinema back in 2023? Yeah. I think they patched things up, probably.
Well, I mean, it's politics.
Yeah.
Kalekiyoki sends in a $1.99, says 11 a.m. Eastern is better. Slacking on Mead streams, Tom.
Well, it's going to be 10, and I checked on the Australian time. It will be midnight.
I think he just meant AM.
Yeah, I think he did.
As far as Mead goes, yeah. First of all, I've been on vacation for almost 2 weeks. That's part of the reason. So, and I'm trying to think of if I should keep Mead the way it is when we change the morning show. If I should change that around and switch that up a little bit too. Plus, I need to start doing more stuff on After Dark anyway.
What's the pattern on After Dark? Is there a set pattern?
Well, it used to be, or at least it's normally Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. for Mead, and then on Sundays I would do the list shows.
That's right.
But no, I'm trying to think of some things I gotta.
I don't think
really...
After Dark allows you to do anything before 5 p.m. Right?
Oh no.
And it's funny, you know, here we are, Midnight's Edge in the morning. Well, Midnight's Edge, I mean, it will be midnight in Australia.
That works. I wish I could do a poll, but I can't on this one. But we will come up with some other stuff to do on After Dark. Soul Nightmare says, Man of Tomorrow is a Lex Superman team up, starts around April. Yeah, I seen there was an interview with James Gunn. I think he was talking to Howard Stern. It's making some headlines. A lot of this stuff we kind of already knew. But this is just basically confirming it. And we kind of figured it would be like a Lex versus Superman, then they had to team up, you know, to verse.
To battle Brainiac or something.
Brainiac, most likely.
I think you've been more in tune with what's going on with James Gunn's DCU than I have. I know you're a big fan of.
Well, I do have a little bit of an inside track. You know, I know a few people to talk to, but I mean, they just usually hear rumblings and other stuff. Like ever since like he's taken over, like that's the thing is like a lot of times a lot of the stuff I kept being told was like until James Gunn says anything, that it's nothing. You know,
you can't necessarily always trust what James says.
Well, that's the thing, and I guess he was given almost full autonomy.
Mhm.
to do whatever he needed to do over DC without having anybody breathe down his neck. So, I mean, when he said, the pressure, he didn't feel the kind of pressure that everybody else seemed to be implying, I think he was being correct. I mean, and not only that, I mean, I'm sure some of the pressure was taken off of Superman considering all the hits that Warner Brothers has managed to have this year. So, I mean, I'm not denying it didn't have to do well, but it not making $1 billion like some people were expecting it to, although I don't think Warner Brothers ever expected it to. The fact that it did as well as it did, I think, is a plus for James and Warner in general, because I mean, they've had a great year, and now the trades finally have to admit it, even though we've been one of the few people's pointing it out through all their downgrades and everything else they've been doing to Warner Brothers to try and make them look bad. They can't do that anymore because they're the only ones who are making any money right now. So we'll see how
I dropped something in the private chat you might want to look at. It's speaking of Warner Brothers, they're looking at a company split probably next April.
I was gonna say, this is something they've been talking about for a while, I know.
Yes. Yeah, so they would be, so you would have the streaming and studios, which would be HBO Max, Warner Brothers, and DC Studios, and then Gunnar would head the global network division, which would be like CNN and Discovery Plus. Feels to me like the split would separate the wheat from the chaff, if you know what I mean.
I think that's kind of the plan. I mean, I think Zaslav's one of the few people to start to understand what is going on here. And he's been one of the few ahead of the curve. And I've been on top of, David Zaslav as an individual before he was even the head of Warner Brothers. Because I remember years ago, bringing him up, because when I would ask, this is early on in the streaming wars days when CBS All Access was still CBS All Access and not Paramount Plus and all this other stuff. Disney Plus was brand new and all that stuff. And I asked a lot of my friends and family, like, what streaming services do you guys have? What do you watch? All that kind of business. And the one thing that kept sticking out to me was everybody kept saying, oh, Discovery Plus, we got to have Discovery Plus. And it wasn't so much that they said they had it was the fact that they said, we got to have. And I'm like, what do you mean you got to have it?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we got to have it, or we can't see the 90 Day Fiance, or we can't see this. And there was a number of things they would ramble off. And I'm like, what in the fuck are these shows? And I found out, it was this David Zaslav. And everybody hates him already because he's the guy who reconfigured Discovery and Court TV. And regardless of what some people are griping about, both have been successful.
That's right.
So, like, that's the thing is, despite getting heavy, pushback, this guy has managed to make Discovery and some of these other cable companies
HBO
profitable.
Max. Yeah. Right.
And so then he came into HBO, and Discovery and Warner Brothers had their big merger thing, and he was the guy that was taking over. I was like, wow, well, this is kind of cool, because I saw this, months ago, that this guy was probably the guy to keep watching because he knows what he's doing when it comes to streaming. And now here we are on the other end of the streaming wars. And I would say that HBO is in a better spot than a lot, because they finally realized, yes, we can't take the HBO out of the HBO Max. HBO needs to be treated like it always has, as this prestige kind of thing. And he said no shows are going to be streaming only. They're going to be both HBO Max and streaming. And he's starting to treat streaming like HBO 2.0, as we've been saying they should for years. So I don't know if he's got people that are listening or if they're people that are just thinking the same things. But that's what we've been saying for a while, is all these streaming services, they can't be your theater. They can't be your competing format, as Andre liked to point out, and it's true. Right. Because that's basically what they did, is created a format war out of this. They just need to be your cable channels 2.0 and your networks 2.0, because guess what? Cable and network television are dying. It's happening faster than they want to admit, and they sacrifice theaters to try and save cable and network television, and it didn't work.
Huge mistake. Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Well, we've got this fragmentation of content now across all these different multiple streaming apps. And, it's just become a pain in the ass, really, to try to switch across all these different apps to watch what you want to watch. That really, I think Zaslav has even pitched the idea of the industry needing to sort of consolidate through some partnerships or mergers.
I'm not surprised, because that's what we've been saying too. Yeah.
Make it not so much a streaming business, but more of an access for consumers. And It's really the streaming has kind of replaced the simplicity of linear cable television. It's confusing. You got blackouts, multiple logins, different apps. It's just, and it's so expensive. And I know that in this article here, he talks about that he's not so much concerned about the password sharing crackdowns, that they're just going to make people fall more and more in love with HBO Max and slowly raise the price a little bit. So he knows the game. But there's another article based on this same meeting over at the Hollywood Reporter. And right out of the gate, you can tell that there's a little bit of a distaste for Zaslav over at the Hollywood Reporter, but he gets a little more into this fragmentation across the streaming apps and focuses a little bit more on the television side of things at the Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, if you haven't noticed, all of the major entertainment news outlets have reluctantly over the past few weeks here, as I've been on vacation, of course, starting to admit what we've been saying all along. Yes. And I love this headline here.
Yeah, but they can barely hide their disdain for the man.
Yeah.
I mean, read this opening. See right there in the subtext, it says David Zaslav says TV has become a terrible consumer experience. Well, not his shows, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good gosh. Come on, people.
Yeah. For a guy who spent pretty much his entire career in television, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav doesn't seem to be a fan. See, this is another reason why they hate him there.
Yep.
This is why I keep trying to tell people. Part of it's his politics. The other part is that he's some TV guy coming in their quote, in their words, quote, playing CEO.
Yes,
film playing movie
CEO. Right.
Yeah,
right.
Movie mogul.
Yeah.
What the fuck is Bob Iger?
Yeah, right.
He's a fucking weatherman.
Yeah.
At least this guy's runs television studio.
Yeah.
Look, I hate as much as I hate to admit it, David Zaslav is one of the Mount Rushmore men of reality television, guys. He is one of the people that created that thing, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Embraced it and created that whole craze. Like he pioneered this idea of just wall-to-wall fucking reality shows because they were cheap. And that's how he managed to make Discovery Networks one of the hottest commodities in Hollywood. And now he's starting to turn around Warner Brothers, regardless of what the fucking media and everybody else has been trying to say for years, because we have been trying to tell you that this guy is a no-nonsense motherfucker who will throw the baby out with the bathwater if the shit is not working. He is not afraid to cut his losses. Because to him, and we saw it, motherfucker cut Batgirl.
That's right. That's
$70 million? Fuck that noise. It's going to destroy us.
Yeah, that took balls.
You don't see anybody else doing that.
No.
Well, they do, but they're not in the same way, and they don't get the same kind of bullshit like when, Disney quietly removed a bunch of their shit for tax purposes, like Willow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right. Although I did think that was the right decision, don't you?
Nobody's arguing that point. See, that's the problem. And honestly, I think outside of morbid curiosity, I don't see why anybody would want Batgirl, because I was trying to remind people that was our de facto Batman Beyond movie, kids.
Exactly.
But it wasn't a boy Batman, it was Batgirl. And I guarantee you Michael Keaton probably died at the end of that movie.
Yeah, Keaton was in it, which just for that facet alone, which was the only reason to watch the Flash movie, right, was Michael Keaton.
And that's what that was setting up, basically. Because people forget they killed Superman as a baby in the Flash, setting up Sasha what's-her-face as the de facto Supergirl now.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to be in Batgirl, and now it was going to be Wonder Woman, Batgirl, and Supergirl as the Justice League.
Could you imagine that reality? How awful.
They tried.
Yeah, boy, they were close.
The other thing,
and they probably dared Zaslav to cancel Batgirl, right? And when he did it, the shrieking and the reeing echoed through the halls.
And I hate to sound like a broken record when it comes to this, but much like the Justice League movie, I know people don't want to believe it, Batgirl was not finished regardless of what people tell you. It was only 70% done. About the same amount as Justice League. When they pulled
maybe
the plug.
A work print, do you think, or not?
There is a work print, but it's not, the film's not complete.
Yeah.
If they wanted to finish it, they'd still have to go back in and probably spend another $20-30 million or more just to go in and finish it up. I don't think it would cost as much as Justice League, Like they gave Zack Snyder too big of a check to finish that shit.
Yeah.
That was, and you're talking about you're cutting together this thing. I think you'll notice, especially if you start comparing Justice League to Justice League.
Yeah.
It's still the same fucking movie.
It is. It's color graded even differently.
Color graded differently.
Yep.
And it's hilarious. This one YouTuber did it. He showed us the difference between a lot of the shots. Now, granted, there is some differences in the intro with the Batman stuff that was reshot and the Superman stuff that's reshot. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But outside of that, the only reason that movie's 4 hours long in the Snyder cut compared to the Justice League is the Justice League cut is like, okay, you show an establishing shot of the building outside, then you cut into the scene. Shit's happening already. Dialogue's going, the scene's happening. Here's the Snyder cut version of that same exact scene. Establishing shot of the building. Establishing shot of the door. Establishing shot of the hallway. Establishing shot of the hallway leading to the room. Establishing shot of the door to the room. Into the room before dialogue even starts happening, just quiet for about a minute. Then the scene starts. That's why that fucking movie's 4 hours long.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And it's all slow motion, right?
That's the other thing. And then he slows it all down on top of it all.
Yeah. There is some interesting stuff. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think that Snyder would have made a fantastic cinematographer.
I think you'd have been fine with Batman, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd have gave him, if you'd have gave him the Dark Knight comic and said, here, just make this a movie, I think we'd have been fine. And I thought that's what BBS was for the first 10, 15 minutes.
Maybe don't give him Final Cut,
Yeah, that too. But he had some of those great shots in BBS where you got the lightning behind Batman, and it's like, oh shit, that's right out of Dark Knight. And you got the cop turning to the kid and going, "You're about to see some serious shit, kid." I was like, okay, he's gonna do Dark Knight Return or Dark Knight. I'm good with this. Yeah. Right. Like the Frank Miller, do it.
They did the third issue of it, I guess. It's like it was a
part of it. They that's the problem is they took a little bit of this, a little bit of that, fucking Doomsday and all this other bullshit that doesn't mesh well together.
Yeah.
Because that's a totally different Superman in that Frank Miller story than it is in the Death of Superman.
Yeah.
Now,
that's almost like a Christopher Reeve Superman, really.
In a way, well, it's the uber
patriotic government.
Yeah. What do you call it? Fascist version of Superman, basically. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Speaking of fascist Superman,
because he works for Reagan, basically. In it,
that's right. Yeah. Mark Miller did a Red Sun, which is if Superman had been born in Russia. It's fantastic.
I remember that one. That's kind of what Man of Steel reminds me of.
Yeah. Uberman. That's what that should have been called.
Yeah. Like it's not quite Superman, but it's like what happened if he was raised by the wrong folks.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But they're still coming after Zaslav. I think I even was checking the comments of that Deadline article. If anybody finds it, it's on front page. It says, hopefully this is written by an anonymous person. This comment, hopefully he is fired before then so that someone else can make the best decisions. It's like, where on the doll did David Zaslav touch you?
Look, I don't agree with everything he's done. I don't. But he has managed to pull the company out of a lot of their debt.
Yep.
Since Wonka, the company has basically hit nothing but fucking home runs. The only two movies you can point to that were mistakes were Furiosa and The Joker 2. And you can't blame them for The Joker 2. Like, Joker 2 was a no-brainer. Like, who's going to say no to Joker 2?
Right.
The problem was giving those two all the fucking power.
Yep.
In Joaquin Phoenix and what's his face, the director.
Yeah.
I just forgot his name. But
it's not Matt Reeves. I can't remember either.
No, the other guy. The guy from The Hangover. I can't think of his damn name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anyhow, giving those two carte blanche was your problem. And I think they learned
we
that.
knew as soon as they cast Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, it was going to be.
It could have worked, but the movie was so bad because at the end of the movie, it's like I mean, in my review, it's like basically it's telling you that the Joker is a joke and he doesn't really exist.
Yep.
It's like, okay, we get that, but like you're completely going against everything that's in the first movie. Yep. And you're cucking out this character on purpose because we're sorry, the wrong audience liked your movie. Boo fucking who?
That's it. That's the thing.
Todd, what's his face? Phillips, yeah.
Yeah, Todd Phillips. It was just there didn't need to be a sequel, right? But obviously they're going to greenlight it. They didn't bring it into any kind of DC universe. And then Todd Phillips was so mad or so shocked at how the audience responded to the Joker. He
The
decided
wrong audience responded. Yeah.
the wrong audience. Give me a break. The wrong audience took your movie to $1 billion. Give me that
Yep.
wrong audience.
No,
you know?
when the logical movie was, okay, have Lady Gaga, but you just have her madness come from the fact that she loves musicals. So all the musical sequences are in her fucking
in
head.
her head, exactly.
And the logical last half of that film was the Joker taking over the courtroom, taking everybody hostage and putting Gotham on trial.
Yeah.
Like that would have been the ultimate fucking ending to that movie.
Yeah. Not having him raped in prison. Come on.
No.
Come
like,
on.
could you imagine that? Had he taken over the court as the
been
Joker, taking
brilliant.
everybody hostage and like, we're putting Gotham on trial.
Yeah. Would have been perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I call to the stand Commissioner Gordon. You know, like just this whole thing where it's this big fucking circus now
you
for
could
him
have
and he's got complete
Yeah, it
control.
would have been awesome. Awesome. And even brought in Two-Face or something.
Yeah, well, Harvey is the defending
right, the prosecutor. Yeah.
the prosecutor. Yeah, like, and that's the thing is you could have had this whole thing, and the beauty of it is the whole city kind of goes nuts, and just like in the first film, they kind of like are cheering the Joker on, and that's the problem.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
What he's really proposing is crime control, not actually ending crime, right? He just wants to control all the crime in Gotham. That's really what it really is. Yeah, and then he just got raped by a nobody.
Yeah.
Because the Joker is a nobody. That's the whole point of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
It was so bad. But yeah, no, like that's the whole thing is those two movies are the only two movies you can point to and say were big mistakes. And I could have told him Furiosa was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea on paper. The movie wasn't that bad, but I think the era that it came out in, and it was just
not just that. The last Mad Max movie did not make any money at the box office. Yeah. People forgot about that. It just got all the critical praise.
Well, it was to me, it was a delight to watch. But yeah, business wise, it was a bad decision.
I mean, in hindsight, I hate that movie. But
do you really?
I fucking hate it.
Okay.
It is to me. Yeah. Mad Max, the Fury Road is every woke thing we had for the next 10 years after that encapsulated in one movie, and people just ignored it.
Oh, wow.
Because it was just basically a fancy remake of Road Warrior.
Yeah, well, with Mad Max sort of a side character, really.
Literally shoved into the back seat.
Yep. Yep. To me, though, I just enjoyed the spectacle. It was like a carnival ride. You know,
that's cool too.
But I had any reason to go back and watch it again. So.
And initially, what took me out of it was not even the woke aspect of it. Was the fact that I'm watching this, going, "Wait a minute, gasoline is a commodity that's very sought after in this world, and these guys are just blowing flames like nobody's business, right. And all this other shit." And it's just like, it's cool, it looks cool, but doesn't quite go along with the last few movies. And I know, like George Miller likes to play this game where, like, he like kind of, you know, confuses the line of what is continuity and who Max really is. He's a man with no name. He's a different character every time. No, it's pretty well established by the third film. He is the same guy.
Yeah, that's right.
You can dance around it and play revisionist history all you want. But at the end of the day, we all know that Mad Max is one guy. He's going through his little adventures, and by this point, we want old man Mad Max, and why you didn't have that for us is no good excuse. Mel Gibson is probably willing to do it. You just don't want to work with Mel.
Yeah, it really was. Fury Road was just a Road Warrior remake. I kind of wish if you were going to do this, it's like, why does George Miller not go back and explore sort of the transitional, like, how did we get to this dystopian situation? You kind of did that in the original Mad Max. You were sort of at that phase where society and civilization is going to that.
That's what I love about the first three films is you get kind of the three phases of society, right? You
Yeah.
get the first part where you see the origin. Damn it. Sadie Shosh. You see the origin of it all, and then the second film where you see everything going to hell, and the third film where it has gone to hell, and this is what's left.
Yeah, there's a little hope left. Yeah. We don't need.
We're living on pig shit fumes, literally.
Yeah.
Master Blaster runs Thunderdome. Or runs Bartertown.
What a great movie.
Jesus Davila says, Tom, what if Guillermo del Toro attempted to War of the World? Now that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. I think he could, especially visually. I think it'd be kind of interesting.
Creepy, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'd be about a little girl who talks to aliens. Watch. No, I'm just Guillermo del Toro is weirdo.
He is.
He's a visionary.
He is a visionary. That's right.
Do you think he's one of the last guys who kind of probably has, like I've seen him so many times get to this point with a lot of these movies where he's just like, fuck it, this ain't working. And it doesn't seem to be about the money to him.
Oh, no, he loves it. He loves the medium. You can tell.
And I mean, I'm not saying all his films are great or anything, but I mean, I just feel like he's one of the few guys I don't think that capitalism really factors into any of it.
He has so many unrealized, projects that get announced.
That's the other thing, yeah.
That just,
motherfucker's making like 12 movies a year and he never makes one.
Well, he was going to do like an Exorcist movie at one time back in the late 90s.
Yeah,
I remember do that.
He's been attached to so many fucking things that never come to be. It's crazy.
And he pitches himself for them all the time. I think he just loves, he wanted to do a Creature of the Black Lagoon remake and wound up doing The Shape of Water like 15 years later because Universal, it just kind of fell apart. He was talking to Universal about it. What
the hell's GDT, Paulie? I'm not missing GDT. I don't know what he means.
Oh,
Guillermo del Toro. Oh, he sold out to Netflix when?
Well, he's did a Pinocchio or something for them, right? And now he's doing this Frankenstein.
Look, I know why they're selling out.
I know why. He's saying that. Oh, you can't believe anything he says. Come on, Paulie.
Even Tarantino is like, they give us money. Even Sandler, he's like, they give us money.
I don't feel like it's Gilmore like going, okay, what I want to make this movie. So what movie do you need me to make for you in order to do that? Maybe there is a little quid pro quo
Scorsese's
going
doing
on.
The same thing. I mean, I think a lot of it's just because it's the only places they can go where they're not getting any notes. And they're not being told what to do, and they're giving stipulations. It's just like they go make their movies, and then they deliver them, and Netflix is just showing them.
And they got the money. I mean, look how much they spent on Happy Gilmore too, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, like Adam Sandler, they're very happy with Adam Sandler, and Adam Sandler's very happy to keep making movies for him.
Sure.
Even I remember Tarantino was just talking because they asked, I can't remember who asked him, but some interview was asking him if he had a problem with that sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood going straight to streaming, and he's like, no, that's just their model. It's like, I don't blame them for their business model. He's like, they paid for the movie. I'm thinking it's going to be like a close to $100 million budget for a movie like that.
Yeah.
If not more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only place Scorsese and Tarantino and some of these guys can get some of these movies made. And I think that's what Tarantino was kind of saying is like, you can't get these kind of movies. Like the fact that he can get a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in theaters is a big deal. Because nobody else can do that kind of shit right now. Just some Joe Blow nobody make a movie like that. You think it's going to get as wide a release?
No.
Even picked up by a major studio? Probably not. They just look at it as a little cute little movie and they throw it on Netflix.
Alternative history sort of movie too, which he had done with the Inglourious Bastards, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of cornered the market on that, or I wouldn't say he invented that, but I mean, he's really kind of, that's kind of his.
Well, he really took it mainstream, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Now you heard his Adventures of Cliff Booth that Fincher was going to do for Netflix, that sequel to Once Upon a Time.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that got canceled.
No.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, we reported on it last week.
I thought they were shooting it already.
That's what I thought. Yep. But no, I don't know what happened, but apparently they've canceled that project.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, why not? It sounds fun. I like the idea of somebody else sort of doing the project, doing a Tarantino follow-up, and Brad Pitt was obviously game.
Are you sure it's canceled?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. That's what we reported on last week. He scrapped it himself. He just thought the project was creatively unexciting.
I think
sort of what he said. Yeah.
I think you're mixing it up with his Critic movie, maybe.
No. Maybe I'm hearing some different reports, but I hope Fincher is still moving ahead with that, and that Netflix is still moving.
The only stories I see here is August 19th. It's a month,
Okay.
just under a month ago. Ventures Eclipse booth. Tarantino shares details. Confirms $200 million budget suggests gigantic, unwieldy novel script could be made for theaters.
I hope you're right.
Okay, so like when he was asked about it, he said he was unenthused about covering old territory, which is why he gave it to Fincher. I know that. So I know he was talking about The Critic when he said that he didn't want to do that one. I'm wondering if you're not getting it crossed.
Well, yeah, maybe getting my wires crossed, because the latest news is saying that photography began July 28th.
Yeah.
And it's expected to wrap in January. So
I was going to say, yeah.
I look forward to it then.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
You scared me. I'm looking forward to that because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is slowly becoming like my favorite Tarantino.
Okay. Wow.
Like every time I see it, I love it more than the last time I see it.
I need to watch it again. I'm still a Jackie Brown.
Oh, I love Jackie Brown.
And Pulp Fiction.
Those are great.
And Reservoir Dogs. I've still got fascination for that. I remember Tarantino even talked one time about maybe even remaking that. I think he talks a lot out of the side of his mouth about stuff, right?
He talked about, also doing it as a play. And in a way, Hateful Eight is kind of a remake of it anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Think about it. Especially in the old sense of like when Siskel and Ebert would talk about remakes.
There's a podcast that you can catch up with Tarantino on called The Church of Tarantino.
There's that one you told me about, and then there's the one I know that he does himself. And I got caught up on him.
He might do a different one too. The Rabbit Hole podcast. I don't know.
He does one that's from his, like him and his buddy. That's on, is it Apple or one of them? I can't remember. I got it bookmarked here, but yeah, I gotta get into it. But Goku McDuck sends us in 20 Mexican dollars to say, so the guard could be the same to Darkseid.
Darkseid in DC Comics. So the guard could do the same to Darkseid.
I mean, butt fuck him.
I guess.
Are you talking about like Joker?
Oh, that's what he's saying. So
I think so.
Yeah. Villain that's the guard. That's the Joker.
Yeah, see, here he is. Yeah, that's what he meant. See, I figured it out just before you sent this in. But he says, for some reason, I cannot write in a super chat what the guard did to the Joker. Not even replacing letters and numbers. I gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, that would probably burn his dick off.
Goku McDuck. Yeah. Goku McDuck is getting censored in the chat.
Is it just me, or am I the only person who wants Mr. T to play Darkseid? I'm gonna get that Justice League. Me or Batman, I'm gonna fuck you up.
In school, stay out of jail.
I'm gonna show you what a real man can do.
Yeah, a little Rocky 3 reference there. I got that.
Me, boy.
Paper champion.
You a paper superhero. Gotta run around in underwear and a cape.
You belong back in the funny pages.
Show you what a real man can do.
Come here, Lois. I think we're going off the rails now, don't you?
I think so. I think it's time to get us out of here. Check out Bleeding Fool with Chris.
Appreciate
and all the gang over there.
Bleedingfool.com or at Bleeding Fool. We're talking today a little bit about the twilight of the spotlight, the fading of Hollywood. Brian Nehemeyer's top story right now. We kind of also get into why Sophie Turner being Tomb Raider is going to be a PR disaster.
Oh God, yes.
And Marvel Rivals, the popular video game, finally started inserting all the transgender and LGBTQ propaganda. So it's all there, folks, at bleedingfool.com.
Yeah, what is up with Sophie? Is this the one that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is still a part of?
Yes.
That makes sense.
What a pair they'll make.
Yeah. And just think about it, like 10, 15 years ago, like Haley Atwell would have been like a perfect cast.
My gosh. You're brilliant. Brilliant. Yes, sir. I still like her. She was great
Yeah.
in the Mission Impossible stuff.
She's a
She
little
needs
old
some-
now for that
Yeah,
role,
yeah, yeah.
but
You're right.
she'd have been perfect back in the day. I mean,
She's got gravitas. She's got
in Gravity.
it. And the curves, I guess. Prerequisites. Yep.
I mean, Sweeney has the look for it, but I don't see her in the role.
No, Atwell's British, right?
Yes.
And so is Sophie. Yeah, to be fair. I mean, Laura
Yeah, but
Croft
she doesn't
is
have the
pretty.
assets for it. I don't give a
No,
shit how they've changed the character.
She's just got a terrible persona. I don't. Everything about her. She's political and she's a snob.
She was a horrible replacement for fucking
Angelina.
Phoenix too. No,
Oh,
for Phoenix
sure.
and
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I think it was after that she said she's never coming back to the United States. She's just too scared to live in the U.S. and she lambasted Georgia over their right to life laws.
Mhm.
It's just,
well, not only that, Angelina Jolie got a fucking tit job. You know how you know? You
No.
watch her in Hackers where she actually showed her tits, and there ain't much there. And then you just see the evolution to Tomb Raider.
okay. Yeah, after Angelina married Billy Bob Thornton, I knew she had gone off
Billy Bob.
off the reservation.
You know what's funny is she's the crazy one in that relationship.
Yeah. Wow.
Billy Bob, I just saw him like remembering a lot of that stuff. He's just like, yeah, that was some crazy times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's a cool dude. Been watching that, going back and watching, while we're waiting on Landman season 2, if it ever gets made.
It's coming.
It was watching Goliath.
I love
First
that
season, fantastic. Second season, oh, bro. Oof. I think David Kelly left the show at that point and they didn't really know what to do.
Yeah, it kind of stumbled into its finales, but
It
that
just
opening
wasn't a courtroom
salvo.
drama anymore. That's what I liked about the first one was
and it felt like it was ahead of its time on some of the things that it was
it was like
covering. Because like, wasn't that
2016.
water scandal thing like ahead of when they actually did find out that shit was
I think
real?
you're right.
And
Yeah.
there was another one of the cases they had in there too that was kind of.
I would recommend the first season, at least for anyone who's watched it. We're finishing up season 2 now. But it feels like it was made in the 2020s.
Yeah, it has its moments, but I mean, as far as like, I mean, I love Billy Bob Thornton. I watch him in anything. So
yeah, he's watchable in almost anything. Sure. Yeah.
I even like him in the Bad News Bears.
Oof. Them's fighting
I didn't
words.
hate that remake. It was like, I should have. With every bone in my body, I wanted to hate it.
Yeah.
And I ended up liking it more. I mean, it's not great.
Yeah.
But Billy Bob really saves it. Like it's like, okay, you could have done much worse than him.
Martin Landau replaced. It doesn't surpass the first one though.
Oh, fuck no. Fuck no.
Not even close.
But the thing with the Bad News Bears is a lot like Highlander. They did how many sequels and TV shows to kind of ruin the legacy anyway, to where that remake is actually one of the better things in the franchise, probably. And I like how it came out at the perfect time, post PC and pre woke. So like, there's nothing in that movie that you can go, yeah, that that they changed that, because like even some of the racial stuff is still there, and they even add the kid in the wheelchair to top it
right.
off.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And he's one of the better parts of the movie too.
That's right. Forgot about that.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually one of the. Didn't Richard Linklater fucking do that one?
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Of all people, like, wow. But yeah.
Good
As
stuff.
I rewatched it not too long ago, I'm like, God, this movie's better than better than it has a reason to be for a remake. And they actually gender swapped the one role in it. What's his face is played by they switched it to a mother in the movie, not a dad, but yeah. Oh, what the hell? Marcia Gay Hart or whatever the hell her name is. Yeah. It's the 20th anniversary of that movie already. Fuck. Yeah, it probably was like 2000, 2005. Yep.
Yep.
Holy shit. Now that's an old movie. What's as funny is I think there's almost as much time now between that movie and the original than this one, right? Actually, more time. Because I think the remake came out when the original was only like 19 years old. Or was it 25 years old? I'm trying to remember. The first one came out, what, 76, I want to say?
75,
77?
76, yeah.
I want to say it was like 76, 77. It was a little later in the 70s, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but So yeah, so 2005, that'd be 25 years. Okay, so 20 years. Okay, so
76. Yeah, it was
no, 30.
76.
30, they said, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, getting there. God dang.
Mm.
Tomb Raider's got remakes too. But all right, let's get the fuck out of here. Thanks for showing up, guys. We appreciate it. Take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, we will be changing the time soon. I believe that's in less than 2 weeks. So with that,
I think it's Monday, isn't it? I mean, am I
I'm week from this Monday. I think Andre wants to do it.
a week from this past Monday?
No, the upcoming Monday.
Oh,
I think he wanted to give
10
us.
days.
Yeah, I think he wanted to give us enough time to start letting people know. So
Good. Yeah. So that'll be the 22nd, September 22nd.
I believe that's the plan.
922.
There you go.
922.
All right. With that, take care of yourselves and each other. And as Andre says, it is time for koalas.
Thanks, everybody.
In 3.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain. No fucks given, koala